All right, so some of you may have seen this interview with Ben Shalom on TalkSport, where he's being asked about the possibility of Anthony Joshua fighting Martin Bakole in Africa. And Ben Shalom says that he's heard that they've signed. Presumably he means Anthony Joshua has signed. So the fight is on. And TalkSport reported this as a serious comment, a serious answer from Ben Shalom. But I don't know whether it was or not. I'm wondering whether Ben Shalom was actually just being sarcastic. But because he said it in like a deadpan type of way, TalkSport have got the wrong end of the stick. Again, I'm not sure. But let's for a second entertain the possibility that this is real and that Anthony Joshua is absolutely serious about fighting Martin Bakole next in light of Tyson Fury, quote unquote, retiring again. Then, as I've said multiple times previously, whenever this fight has been mentioned to me, I would expect this to be the end of Anthony Joshua. I don't think he beats Martin Bakole. I think Martin Bakole stops him. I think Anthony Joshua is finished. I think that Dubois fight would have taken away any last bit of fight that Anthony Joshua had left in him. Compared to the other top heavyweights, AJ's never been the mentally strongest. Again, I'm comparing him to other top heavyweights. I'm not comparing him to the average guy on the street, but compared to other top heavyweights, he's never had the strongest mind. And after that devastating defeat to Dubois, by far the most devastating defeat of his entire career, I would expect him to have more demons in his mind than ever before, and perhaps to be more neurologically affected than ever before. Although there's an alternative perspective out there, which says that because AJ had so much pressure on his shoulders over the years, that is part of what contributed to him faltering in various fights. He couldn't handle the pressure. But now that he's been completely wiped out in a fight where it wasn't even competitive against Daniel Dubois, AJ got humiliated in the worst way. The idea is then that that has removed all of the pressure from his shoulders. Nobody expects anything from him now, and therefore he may perform better than ever as a result. Now, I'm not saying I'm sold on that argument. In fact, I suspect it's wrong, but I'm open to the possibility that it could be right. Let's just put it that way. It's just that I think my take on it is more likely, which is that AJ is totally finished now, despite perhaps the pressure no longer being on his shoulders. I don't think his brain will recover from that Dubois fight anytime soon. I think he will be more vulnerable than he previously was. And he never had amazing punch resistance to begin with. And I think the demons in his mind after the Dubois fight will be more problematic than ever. But time will tell. We shall see. To reiterate what I said at the start, if this fight goes ahead next, I'm taking Bakole by knockout. I personally think AJ should retire. If he insists on continuing, rather than taking on a Martin Bakole or a Daniel Dubois, I think he should be targeting fighters in the same boat that he's in, the likes of Deontay Wilder. And that's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh says he'd be interested in making. Also, Dylan White. They've had a rivalry for many years. I don't think it's advisable for AJ, as washed up as he looks to me, to be taking on anyone fresh. I'm a boxing fan who wants to see competitive fights. I saw nothing in the first Dubois fight to make me believe that a Dubois-AJ rematch would be competitive. And based on recent form and again perceived freshness and also styles, I suspect that Bakole versus AJ wouldn't be particularly competitive, with AJ being on the receiving end of most of the punishment. Now, of course, some people hate AJ, particularly Tyson Fury fans, and therefore they want to see him in one-sided fights where he's the victim. But they're not real boxing fans. They're fanboys. A real boxing fan like myself is interested in seeing competitive fights, or fights that, again, we perceive to be competitive on paper. This is why I was never calling for a Deontay Wilder-Zhilei Zhang rematch. Why would I want to see that? And of course, this is where Fury fans expose themselves, because they weren't calling for a rematch for that fight either. They didn't criticize Wilder for not pursuing a Zhang rematch, but they have criticized AJ for not pursuing a Dubois rematch. Now, to be fair, perhaps it's because Eddie Hearn was trying to lead people to believe that AJ wanted the rematch. Nevertheless, again, if you're a real boxing fan, why would you want to see a second fight when the first fight was one-sided? What's the point? Isn't there already too many rematches in the heavyweight division? AJ was a challenger against Dubois. After losing to the champion, why the hell should he get a rematch? Why was that in the contract in the first place? Shouldn't have been. If Dubois had lost, then yeah, he should be entitled to a rematch against AJ. It was a voluntary defense, and rematch clauses for champions, one-way rematch clause for champions in voluntary defenses. That's standard practice in boxing. But for the challenger to also have an optional rematch, that's very unusual. And in my view, it's bad for boxing. Anyway, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree that AJ gets knocked out by Martin Bakole if that fight happens next? Whenever I do live streams, I always get quite a lot of Martin Bakole skeptics pop up in the comments. And the issue that I have with a lot of the skeptics is that they seem to have a very dichotomous view of fighters. Either a fighter is the real deal or he's a hype job and there's nothing in between. When in reality, there's an awful lot in between. There are shades of grey in between. I'm certainly not saying that Martin Bakole is the heir apparent. All I'm saying is with his particular style and his set of skills, I think he beats certain people. And one of those people that I think he beats is Anthony Joshua. Just my take. Give me your take in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Are you surrounded by mindless bots in human form who adhere to the norm and blindly conform? Who swallow all the mainstream BS and actually ridicule you for questioning things? Do you wish you had more free-thinking individuals in your life to network and converse with? Well, look no further. We're right here. Come and join the Brotherhood of Reason on Patreon. You'll gain access to my weekly topical content where we take deep dives on an endless variety of subjects, as well as my vast back catalogue of podcasts, videos, interviews, movie decodings, and my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You'll also get to talk and network with myself and hundreds of other people in our members chat. You can enjoy all this via the Patreon app or on desktop and download all my podcasts in high quality MP3. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store, or simply visit patreon.com on a web browser. Then head on over to my page and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.